Hey, Judy, what's wrong? It's nothing, I reply. It's a cold day in December, and Christmas music fills the streets. I pause to admire a shiny tree ornament. My husband, Dan, walks a few steps ahead, his breath fogging the air. He turns back, smiling softly at me, his ears red from the chill. I adore the way he looks at me. I think to myself. Let's go home. I made hot stew for dinner, it's perfect for a cold night. That sounds great, he says. We hold hands, laughing, as we walk home. A familiar Christmas song drifts through the air. I'm Judy, I say. What I'm about to share is a strange Christmas miracle I experienced a few years ago, and the events that led to it. You're late, Dan snaps as I walk into the apartment. His sharp words make me cringe. Where have you been? I just went to the nearest deli to grab the hot sauce we ran out of. It was a freezing day in mid-December, and just a short while ago, he'd sent me out into the cold without my coat. Do you think I'm a fool? I work hard to pay the bills. When I come home, I expect dinner to be ready and perfect. Can't you even handle that? I stare at the floor as he rants. No hot sauce? How am I supposed to eat chicken wings without it? And why do you always look so lazy? You're messing everything up. I'd hurried out earlier, bought the sauce, and rushed back, but now he's even angrier. You went to a deli? Are you crazy? It's cheaper at the supermarket. He glares at me, pointing at the bottle like it's some kind of crime. I can't help but answer back. The supermarket's farther away, and the food would have gone cold. I didn't have time for that. Besides, the chicken wings tasted fine even without the sauce. Are you seriously talking back to me? He roars. Where's your apology? I already said I'm sorry. But my response only fuels his rage. He shouts at me for another hour before flipping his plate of chicken wings and storming out to eat elsewhere. A few days later, I visited my childhood neighborhood to clean my parents' house, which was up for sale. I stopped by to see an elderly woman I've always called Grandma. Grandma, your predictions have always been right, until now, I tease her. I don't make predictions, she says with a mysterious smile. But you do, I insist, laughing. You've always known what's going to happen, like when you told me not to go to the mall, and later that day, lightning struck it, or when you told me to go outside on a sunny day, and my house was robbed while I was out. If I'd been home, I might have been hurt, or worse. Grandma just chuckles, brushing it off. I pause, my tone growing serious. You even helped me prepare for my mom's illness. Your advice gave her peace of mind before she passed. She told me you said I'd have something wonderful happen on a Christmas not too far away. It made her happy to think I'd have a bright future. I think back to how Dan proposed to me on Christmas Day, believing it was the special moment Grandma predicted. But now, I feel stuck. Dan has changed so much since we got married. He gets angry over little things, like the temperature of the food or how I clean. He criticizes everything I do, leaving me feeling small and trapped. I don't even want to go home, I admit to Grandma, my voice cracking. Now, she says gently, it's getting late. Don't you need to cook dinner? Her words feel like a soft nudge, but they still sting. I stand up reluctantly. You'll be okay, she says. Just stand your ground and stay true to yourself. Life will get better. One day, you'll have a Christmas so joyful you'll feel like jumping for joy. God is watching. Her words lighten my heart just a little. Is that a prophecy? I ask, turning back to her. Grandma smiles mysteriously. Let's just say I'm an old woman sharing wisdom. On my way home, I try to shake off my doubts. If I work harder, maybe Dan will change, I tell myself, but things only get worse. It became normal for Dan to bark orders at me, make dinner, give me a massage, iron my shirt. He never said a kind word, only criticism. One night, his temper flared up again. Who do you think you are? He snapped. Why, what did I do? I asked, confused and weary. But once again, I was left questioning why this marriage had turned into a constant storm of anger and hurt. You don't even have the decency to greet me when I get home, Dan yelled as soon as he walked in. Who do you think you are, staying out so late? Now I have to heat up my food in the microwave. God darn you. I sighed deeply. I told you I had a co-op meeting tonight. I even left a note on the table. Shut up. That's no excuse for lazy cooking, he snapped. Lazy? What are you talking about? I made the main dish and all the sides, just like always, I replied, trying to stay calm. If it's not freshly cooked, it's cutting corners, he barked back. His reasoning was ridiculous. I should always come first. Above anyone or anything. I've been putting up with you. You're my wife, you're supposed to obey me. That's insane, I blurted, shocked by his entitled demands, but he stood tall, puffed up with self-importance, and sneered at me. You have no family, no one else to rely on, you can't survive on your own, you're nothing without me, you should shut up and worship me. If you can't do that, I'll divorce you, he said, smirking like he enjoyed breaking me down. Then he sat down and ordered, now, give me a foot massage. I bit back my frustration, holding myself together as best I could. If I fought back, it would only make things worse, and most importantly, I had nowhere else to go, not in the freezing sleet outside. So, I sat on the floor and gave him the massage, swallowing my pride like I had so many times before. This cycle went on until one day, while grocery shopping, I suddenly collapsed from intense pain. An ambulance rushed me to the hospital. When the doctor explained my condition, I couldn't make sense of it at first. This virus is transmitted through sexual contact, the doctor said gently. Your husband was also tested, and both of you have it. You probably didn't notice, because you had no symptoms. Unfortunately, you'll need surgery, and I'm very sorry to tell you this, but your chances of having children in the future are extremely slim. The words hit me like a freight train, my mind went blank. Dan quickly followed the doctor out of the room, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I can't have a baby, I whispered to myself, over and over, as the weight of it sank in. Slowly, the shock turned into an overwhelming darkness inside me. I needed answers. Forcing myself to stand on unsteady legs, I tried to follow them. Wait, doctor, Dan, I called out, but I froze mid-step when I overheard their conversation. And in that moment, I realized something that would change everything. So, does everyone need to get tested? Exactly, they all need treatment at once, or it'll just keep coming back to you, the doctor explained. Do they even know what the test is for? Dan asked, his voice persistent. Of course they do, the doctor replied, clearly getting annoyed with him. I sat quietly, feeling hopeless. As I listened to their conversation, it became clear that Dan had been seeing at least 3 different women while we were married. I looked at a picture of my mom on the wall and whispered, I need help. I know he's not a good husband now, but maybe he'll change if we have a baby. I tried to hold on to Grandma's words. I would struggle now, but eventually, I'd be happy. I thought they would be my good luck charm, but I was wrong. Dan didn't seem to care about me at all. He was always focused on his own health, going to the hospital for his checkups, while I suffered in silence. I longed for a family of my own, a husband, kids, and a home. Tears streamed down my face as I held the picture of my mom. Mom, I sobbed quietly. Suddenly, Dan appeared. What are you sitting around for? Dinner's not ready. He threw papers on my head as I sat there. These are divorce papers, he said, his voice cold. This is your punishment for ignoring me and making a fuss. You're so depressing, he sneered. I'm ready to divorce you anytime. You're the one who will suffer, not me. If you don't want that, start doing your duty. I'm not slacking, I mumbled, too tired to argue anymore. Oh, there's one more thing, no living expenses for you this month, he added with a smirk. He stepped closer. I'm giving you a chance to reflect, know your place. If you don't obey me, it's over. Once he finished his rant, he left the room, looking satisfied with himself. Divorce. The word hung in the air, my emotions numbed as my eyes fell on the papers with Dan's signature. Mom, I've decided, I whispered, wiping away my tears. I looked at her smiling picture. Please watch over me. For a while, I stayed quiet, living with Dan as usual. He treated me like a servant, taking out his anger on me. I argued sometimes, but mostly, I endured the silence. And one day, as he began another tantrum, I knew it was time to act. I told you already, I can't eat lukewarm salad, and cold stew? Forget it. How long does it take for you to get it right? I sighed inside, then decided to follow through with my plan. If I don't obey, you'll divorce me, right? Right, at least you remember that. If you don't want me to leave, you better fix your stupidity. He leaned back, satisfied with himself. You're a bit slow, aren't you? What? He blinked in surprise at my response. What did you just say? You say the same things over and over. Do you even know any other words? All you ever say is divorce. It's sad, really. What the heck? Let's get a divorce. I'm fine with it. I'll be a stranger to you, just like you want. His jaw dropped in disbelief. Are you serious? I smiled calmly and said, goodbye. I took off the apron I had bought when we got married, folded it, and placed it on the table with the house keys on top. I looked at him one last time before picking up my pre-packed suitcase and walking out the door. What the heck is going on? His voice chased after me, snapping me out of my thoughts, but I couldn't care less. Yay, I'm free. I pretended not to hear him and happily walked towards my parents' house, where I had decided to move back in. 1 year later. The divorce was final, but Dan didn't stop contacting me. You're sorry, aren't you? I'll take you back if you apologize. A wife should. I ignored the constant messages, which were something I never had to deal with when we were married. Eventually, after he kept pushing, I agreed to meet him face to face at his parents' house. Why have you been ignoring me? Dan, who was trying to act calm in front of his parents, spoke reasonably. I've been texting you all this time, but you never replied. Oh, yeah, I turned off notifications from you. Why? It was too annoying. I am annoying? Yes, you are. His face started turning red as his anger built up. So, what do you want to talk to me about? He started raising his voice, but then remembered where we were and quickly muttered an apology, something that had never happened in our marriage. Wow, I thought, he actually knows how to apologize. What do you need to talk to your ex-wife about? I asked, curious. Hold on, why are you acting so strange? Aren't you struggling after the divorce? How are you managing? He sounded almost concerned, but I couldn't forget how he never even checked on me before, even though he knew where I lived. I didn't mind getting back together if that's what you want. Doesn't that make you happy? Not at all. I almost laughed at his confidence. It doesn't make me happy, and it wouldn't help me. I make enough money to support myself. Besides, the living expenses you gave me were only $500 a month. It didn't even cover what we needed. You're the one struggling now, without me, right? The money I was covering for you is gone, and I'm much more comfortable being alone now. I don't understand why we'd get back together after I've finally been free, I said, pretending to be confused. Dan got visibly frustrated. What? You were supposed to be a housewife. I mean, let's not talk about finances, he mumbled, clearly uncomfortable with his parents being there. Dan, stop acting like a child caught in trouble. Calm down. Don't try to look good now. They know everything about you. What secrets? He asked. I motioned for him to be quiet and revealed the truth. You're wrong about me. I wasn't just a housewife. I told you I lived abroad because of my dad's job. I used the German I learned there to work as a translator. Do you remember those materials on the bookshelves? I didn't care about them, he muttered. Exactly. Those were materials and manuscripts for translation. You never touched them because you didn't care. Thanks to that, I hid some recording equipment. Wait. Dan froze when I mentioned the word recording. It was his father who presented the evidence, a recording device and files, right in front of him. See, all your secrets, like how you treated her, are out now, his father said. His parents started crying as they watched the recordings and apologized to me. They were ashamed of how their son treated me. Well. Dan stammered, clearly nervous under the pressure. His mother grabbed him and forced him to sit down again. She glanced at me, signaling for me to continue, and I nodded. These are copies of our divorce papers, I said, pointing to parts marked with red circles. You know what these are, right? No way. He whispered, shocked. I showed him the witness signatures on the papers, people he knew very well. Actually, there wasn't enough space for all the witnesses. You had more than 2 girlfriends, didn't you? Wait a second. No more waiting, I interrupted. Before I could continue, a voice full of resentment filled the room. You never told us about the STD. We only had a relationship with you. That means you brought it in from somewhere else, didn't you? I mean, what am I, a fling? Didn't you say we'd get married one day? That's something only a bachelor should say. Oh no, one of his girlfriends added, her voice full of contempt. We watched the video too. You're a villain, not just to us, but to all women. You're public enemy number 1. You're finished. Surrounded by his angry girlfriends, Dan collapsed to the floor. His parents sighed deeply, ashamed of their son. I had hired a private investigator to look into his girlfriends and had secretly contacted them. I also informed my ex-in-laws about everything. The result was this chaos. Your game is up now, Dan. His parents strongly insisted that he face the consequences. all of his girlfriends, and I demanded compensation from him. Dan worked for a company owned by a relative of his mother, so the payments were taken directly from his paycheck. To make sure he couldn't escape, he was kept under strict supervision at his parents' house while facing years of compensation payments. 6 years had passed since everything had changed. "Hey, Judy, what's wrong?" It was a cold day, with Christmas songs playing everywhere in the city. I stopped in front of a tree ornament that caught my eye. My husband, his breath visible in the chilly air, turned to look at me from a few steps ahead. He smiled softly, his ears red from the cold. The little girl in his arms had rosy cheeks too. I couldn't help but adore them both. Grandma's prediction was actually amazing, I murmured to myself. My current husband, surprisingly, was the brother of one of Dan's ex-girlfriends. After everything, I had stayed in touch with the girlfriends, and it was through them that I met him. He had gently helped me heal from the depression I'd suffered after my painful marriage to Dan. It felt like a strange, almost fateful twist of events. If it hadn't been for everything with Dan, I never would have met my husband. So that's what Grandma meant when she said, "You'll struggle, but you'll be happy." I reflected again, amazed at how true her words had turned out to be. And, against all odds, I had gotten pregnant after we married, something I had been told was highly unlikely. I still remember the Christmas day when I was rushed to the emergency room and the doctor announced that I was pregnant. We were overjoyed, jumping up and down like kids, and the nurse scolded us to calm down. It felt like a true Christmas miracle. This time of year always brought those memories rushing back. I had been hurt deeply by Dan, but now, I was so happy. "Mommy." I was brought back from my thoughts as my daughter left my husband's arms and ran to me in her fuzzy coat. "Nothing, let's go home and have dinner. It's hot stew for an especially cold day, I've already prepared it." "Sounds great." "Yay." Laughing, we held hands and walked down the street together. And from somewhere, a familiar Christmas song played in the background.